Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home. Hello and welcome everyone to the Energetics podcast. I am Veronica and I'm here joined by my beautiful partner, Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Veronica. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for being here.
So grateful to have you as part of this conversation. By listening, by watching, you are energetically contributing. And so we really appreciate you and your contribution to whatever comes forth. And so, as I said, this is the Energetics podcast, and we are also going to share about ourselves individually. So, Kim, where can folks find you?
Oh, la, 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 la. I am on Facebook. That's my main thing typically. However, my Facebook is married to Instagram. So my Facebook, I am on there as Kim Coleman. I am the image with the girl with the silver hair. And not that there's only one Kim Coleman with silver hair. Maybe there is. And then on Instagram, I am kimcoleman.growingbeyond. And my website is growingbeyond.com. And
Amazing.
What about you, Miss Veronica?
And I can be found on Instagram at the Veronica Rose, Roze. Awesome. And we are kind of on a series of conversations as it relates to choice and how important and powerful choosing is, and also how it can get quite warped if we aren't as aware as we could be around choice and everything that contributes, everything that choice contributes to our lives. And so one of the things that we were thinking to explore today was intuition, right? That inner knowing. So as we are choosing, as we go through our days, but also as we are conversing, right? So we talk a lot about the co-creative dance with life. Life is here for us. Life is here creating with us. Life is in this dance of weaving this beautiful masterpiece, which is our life. And so we're either allowing that co-creation or we're resisting it through all the things that we do as cute little humans who are, just exploring to do better. And so when we think about intuition and we think about receiving guidance from life or whatever the unseen forces are for you. So for everyone that looks a little bit different, if it's God, if it's the universe, if it's angels or fairies or stardust or whatever that is for you, that is the unseen that you believe to be integrated with, that you know to be integrated with. There is communication that happens. There is the uploading that we do of the things that we desire, or the communication that we have as we pray or we, meditate or whatnot. We upload into the web of life and we download from the web of life and all those unseen forces, again, however that looks for you. And so when we think about the downloading piece and the guidance and the insight and the information that we can receive from life and from the unseen forces, if it's something that's new to us or is not maybe, naturally known by us, and it's something that we are beginning to embody, that download, the information, the exchange, it can be a little bit wonky at first as we're starting to learn how that looks for us. And so for me, when I began this journey 20 years ago and I, started to participate in conversations or programs or working with, mentors or coaches, and would hear about others' experiences on how they would receive information, it always seemed so clear for them. Like people would just receive these downloads of information, or they would receive really clear messages in their mind or in their ears or as they went through life. And it was never like that for me. So it frustrated me because it felt like that wasn't available to me, or that wasn't a skill that I possessed. And now that I'm, 2 decades into this work, it's clear to me that it just looks different for me. It is less of a clear articulated message or voice in my head or voice in my ear, and it's more of a knowing. And, and so I've accepted that it's different from me. And through that accepting, I've been able to deepen the conversation, if you will, the exchange of information, of insight, of guidance, by allowing it to be different for me. So I thought maybe we could just talk a little bit more about that spectrum of how it is different for so many people, and how, it's really fun to find your own way of exchanging with the unseen forces, because once you start to, you begin to receive really clear insight and guidance and wisdom that starts to come through, that really puts things into perspective and helps you to know when you're making choices or otherwise. So, Kim, how's that been for you?
Same.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Yeah. So there's so much in what you said, Veronica. Thank you. Because yeah, so there is the hidden unseen, as you said, and there's also the very clear seen. Like for again, we talked about signs that some people,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're wondering about something and they're not sure what choice to make, and then they look at the clock and they say 11:11. A woman that I do oracle sessions with, these are in-person sessions, and we're starting to do them online. She can ask a question and her phone will ding. Well, to her, that is a really clear sign. She'll ask a question, you know, she'll follow her intuition. She'll follow her intuition with her knowing, and then boom, she seems to a truck will go by on the highway with one word on it, and it's almost exactly the word she was using. Like, and so I love it. So she gets confirmation in that way all the time. Not everybody seems to. uh and so again, like you said, it's like wondering why is it so easy for others? And I've been doing this since the 90s. What year is this? This is 2025. And I still question it all, right? And so, like you, I have really strong knowings. I have really strong awarenesses. And holy moly, like the wisdom and the downloads that come from me, through me, to me, as me, whatever, however you want to perceive that, they are like, whoa. Sometimes I'm like, what do I do with this information? Do I share it? Sometimes I get so excited. Oh my God, the world needs to know about this. And then I get, okay, pause, embody it. Okay, cool. But yeah, that intuition piece is so key, because it is about playing with it and trying it on and practicing. And some people, as you said, they get the wisdom and that intuition, like really strong messages. It's not that way for me either. Often, sometimes I have to pause. Well, I pause and sit with something, so I'm trying it on energetically, emotionally, all the things before I deep dive. And then there's other times where I'm like, boom, when you know that you know, right? And yeah, some people, it can show up as colors. It could, like, some people see, some people feel, right? Some people just know. Some people hear. And some people get a little bit of all of it, which that can also seem confusing, because they're getting a little, it's coming from all directions, right? And then there's people who just absolutely know. And like I said, so there's all of them going on for me. uh yeah, and a lot of people just go by the energy of. However, if I really want something, I can make that energy my excitement around something. I can actually misidentify that because I'm so excited about it. So that's why personally I need to pause and just sit with it for a bit to see what's actually true for me in it. And then there's other times it's like, no, I'm having that now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
how does it work for you when you are playing with intuition?
Yeah, I very, very similar in the sense of like I require the pause. I require the contemplation. So if it's something that say I'm really struggling with something, like last year, one of the things I was really struggling with is looking at one of our mentors and feeling the jealousy and the envy of why haven't I achieved what she's achieved, right? So I spent some time, both Kim and I, we like to do a very specific type of yoga and meditation. And so I spent some time really that's how I get centered, right? Is through breath work and through yoga and really grounding myself and releasing all the density in my body and my being, and then starting to just be present with the awareness of that judgment that I have of myself. And then I go into exploration within my mind of, well, what could be playing out here, right? So instead of the judgment of she's great, I'm not, she's succeeded, I haven't, what else is possible for me here? And in my mind, I start to go through different possibilities of what's happening in my life, and how things could be playing out differently for me. And all of a sudden, I'll land on a thought that will light me up inside. So it feels like it's in my, from my sacral all up through my heart and almost my up to my throat, where it feels like a really like a lightness. It's not excitement. It's maybe like a lightness on the brink of love. Like it's almost like a slight burst of the heart expansion. And it's like, ooh, then I know I've hit on something. It's like I get this burst in me. And it's like, ooh, okay, that's what the truth is for me. And then I can sit with that a little bit more. It feels good. It feels light. It feels expansive. And then, and usually especially if I'm going through something tough that I'm trying to navigate and trying to get clarity on in my head, and I land on that kind of hit, if you will, then I can really see things. I really explore, okay, now through this new way of looking at this thing, through this lens, I'll really explore how does that play out differently for me. Whereas the judgment felt very constrictive and tight. It didn't feel good. Now I have this lightness. So that, again, the circumstances haven't changed, but I've had this hit of awareness of there's a new perspective to look at, a new lens through which I can look at things. And it's really a sensation in my body. It feels like my own thought. It doesn't feel like it's a thought from somewhere else. It feels like it's my own thought. And whether it is or not, I don't know. But I get that hit that's like, and I can feel that in my body physically, this lightness, this like little small burst of like heart expansion.
Like a little more space.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were saying, the judgment felt contracted, and then the other thing felt a little bit more space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Often for me, yeah, like often for me also, it's like, okay, so what's the next class? What is it that I need to do for my business? And then I get in my own way because I'm trying to figure it out, right? So for me, for example, I don't have a job outside of the work I do with this. And so, sometimes it can get a little bit like, oh my God, okay, now what? And trying to figure it out. And definitely for me, when I'm trying to figure it out or looking at my calendar, I can do this class here, I can do that class there. Often it is a heavy energy, like it just is. So I know I'm not in flow, and I know I'm not in alignment with what I do, because what I do, I love what I do. However, when I do it from that place of what I don't even know, when I do it from that place of, okay, I just finished that class. Now, what am I going to create so I have some finances next month? Right. And it's, I definitely get in my way of my own intuition when I'm doing that. And yet at the same time, that's the dance for me. Right. That's the dance for me is, and this is real for me. It seems really real for me. It's okay. Awesome at what I do. I'm aware of that. I have all the evidence of that, and I better get something in the book for next month, right? And so I get in the way of my own intuition by trying to figure it out and make it happen. Ew, that's a tough one. right? And so as I let go, it's interesting. I'll have people reaching out to me saying, okay, when's the next one of these classes? When's the next one of those classes? And I'm like, okay, I don't have one in the book yet. Let's create one. Let's pick a date and let's start there. So for me, that intuition thing, I can get in the way of it. Uh, when I can pause, as we were chatting about. So I have the question, okay, what am I going to teach now? 1,000 things pop into my head. Well, I know that's my mind chatter often, right? Trying to figure it out, trying to make something work. Um, and yeah, but then I just recognize, okay, I need to pause here. I need to pause here. And
Yeah.
it's interesting how the people that'll start reaching out to me.
Yeah. And is that a sign, right? Like we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
is that possibly one of the signs? Yeah. And so, in the context of, thank you for sharing that, Kim. I love that, because it's true. Your mind will just generate a whole bunch of ideas. And then again, when it comes to the choice, how do we determine what that best choice is? And so again, for everyone, it's going to be a different experience, but to invite everyone to really, for those of you who are curious about this, to really start to play with, well, how does it feel in my body? How does it feel for me? Is there a lightness? Is there a heaviness? Or is there a clear message coming through? Like if you ask a question and put it out there, perhaps you're one of those that does receive that clear message. And how fun is that? But really, it's cool because we can actually play with this every day. As we go through our day, it doesn't have to be a session where you're sitting down and going into a deep meditation. But as you start to go through your day and you're looking at practicing making choices and choosing, really feeling, well, what feels light, what feels good. One of a common channelers online, Bashar, you can follow him, but he talks a lot about following your bliss and following your passion, which I love. And at the same time, those feel like very big emotions to me. Like I don't feel bliss and passion as I go through my day, right? So that can get confusing for me. Whereas the lightness feels like a little bit easier for me to think about following something blissful or that I'm passionate about every day. I don't naturally gravitate to those feelings, but the lightness feels better for me. So again, it's just like whatever, lands and clicks for you.
And I love that. Thank you for that. Because you know what? The thing is like his word bliss might be your word lightness, right? It's, and what's really interesting. So here's an experience that I had recently around all this. So, I was looking at this particular crystal on Marketplace. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I like that crystal. Uh, and I'm also aware that, oh my God, there's so many fake crystals out there now. Like, dear God, people. So anyway, whatever the why is around that anyway. So I'm like, how do I know if it's real or not? So I reached out and I said, how do I know if this is a real crystal or not? And my intuition, my gut, my knowing was trusting her and her awareness. And she said, yeah, it's been tested, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. Well, jeepers, didn't I have a dream that it was fake? I had a dream that it was fake. So, what was interesting for me was I also knew it wasn't. But in my dream, I had this dream that it was fake. So I had to look at that and I went, okay, what is that? Oh, that's my fear playing itself out. It would have been so easy for me to think, oh no, the message came in a dream. Oh my God, right? But I didn't do that. I went, okay, what is this? Ah, it's my fear. It's just my fear playing itself out. That's all it is. I bought the crystal. And it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's
Oh,
100% real. Wish I had it here to show you, but I don't. and if you're listening on audio, you couldn't see it anyway. But yeah, it's that was a right. And so sometimes, yes, messages, as you were saying, you can put the question out there and it can show up. Check to see if it's your fear that's responding to it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
always been a thing that's tripped me up, to be honest with you, when it comes to intuition. Is this just something I'm making light because I want it so bad? Um, Am I getting a no? Is that actually a real no, or is it my fear? And that is the pause. So I started looking at this crystal probably about 3 weeks ago. That's a pause. That's a pretty long pause. I don't usually pause that long. Um, and so a pause can be 20 minutes, right? But I knew that I knew I was going to have this crystal. And that's when I had the dream. Oh, it's fake. Oh, isn't that interesting? I knew it wasn't. Yeah. And so it's always, I think, checking in with what's actually true. Is this my fear? Is this, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll tell you, I find that I can let go of a lot of fear while I'm sleeping. It can feel like nightmares to some people. For me, I'm like, oh, cool. I wonder what I unraveled there. That's how I look at things like nightmares. Oh, cool. I wonder what my body let go of there. I wonder what my subconscious unraveled there. Yay. It's a celebration. If I have a nightmare, I'm celebrating. Woo!
I love that. That's so good. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for taking us through that process with the crystal. And really, when I think about working with clients one-on-one or facilitating groups, group programs, a lot of what people want is clarity. A lot of people, they want clarity. They want clarity about who they are. They want clarity about where they're going, about the right choices to make, about, whether they're doing the right thing or, what's around the corner. It's clarity is one of the top things I find that people are seeking. And we have the intelligence and we have the wisdom within us. And so to be able to cultivate that and strengthen that muscle of intuition, again, however that looks for you, is so key in being able to access that clarity for yourself and to accelerate everything that you desire in your life. The more clarity you have, the less spinning we do through the narratives that aren't actually supporting us in our mind, and we can really create that singular stream of consciousness towards whatever it is that we're choosing to pursue or choosing to experience. Once we have that clarity through our intuition, once we're able to connect with those unseen forces and receive the guidance and the wisdom and the clarity. And so I think it's just such a cool thing to explore.
Yeah. And you know what, that nightmare thing, I hear so many people say, "Oh my god, I dreamt of my ex and I thought I was done with that." Don't make it mean anything. Maybe your body's letting go of it on more levels. Maybe your subconscious is letting go of it on more levels. That's why I celebrate that. Because if we have all this fear and all this other stuff running, how can we have clarity, right?
Exactly.
How can we actually have clarity if all that stuff is tucked in its little nook and cranny somewhere waiting for us to make a choice, and then boom, there it is in our face because it came out of its nook and cranny for 10 minutes, right? And so
Exactly.
celebrating those nightmares. I'm not suggesting we all ask for nightmares. However, thanking our sleep time for letting go as well as our daytime.
Yeah, it's a lot of processing, and sometimes the visual representation in the dream is just a visual representation. It's not reflective of the emotion that's being processed. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kim. Hopefully, this conversation was insightful, was helpful. And if you believe that anyone can benefit from listening to this conversation, we would love for you to share. All the shares help us get out there. So, thank you. We would be super appreciative.
So share, like, subscribe, whatever it is that your system that you're working with offers. Let's do it.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. So much love. Until next time.